First of all, apologies to the noise in the background. That happens to be my air conditioner. Now that it is summer, my room gets really, really hot. Bear with me at times in the future that you're going to have this noise in the background. I apologize. Moving on from that, now that Memorial Day is past, it is time for a couple of holidays. The first and second of which are the NBA Finals and the NHL Stanley Cup, which I don't really care about the NBA, and I'm still rooting for the Golden Knights, so not much has changed on that front. But the third holiday, and this speaks to me as a sort of analyst, is Draft Day for baseball. The day where future stars, Hall of Famers, maybe not first rounders except Ken Griffey Jr., but who knows, get selected for their teams. Unless you live outside of the Dominican, US, and Canada, in which case that's a different conversation for a different day. But the players itself is not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about trading draft picks. MLB is rather unique in the fact that they don't allow teams to trade their picks, with the exception of recent competitive balancing picks, which have actually come up quite a bit in salary dump trades. Rather importantly, in NBA and NHL, trading draft picks is very common. For example, Eli Manning of the New York Giants. He was not an original draftee by the Giants. He was a sign and trade. Manning's team drafted him and then traded him nearly instantly to the Giants for other players, or even draft picks. And recently you've seen several calls for the same to happen in Major League Baseball. Trade maybe the number 5 pick for this all-star player. Other people have said, no, you should keep it. That if you allow the trading of draft picks, you will, once again, the old argument, you'll see super teams. Some teams will hoard draft picks and have this elite class of players, while others will be overloaded with old talent and collapse. And I say it doesn't really matter anyway. The reason I say it doesn't matter is because of the unique aspect of baseball. Namely that it doesn't necessarily mean the instant success once you're drafted, as it does in the NBA or the NFL. There's a reason why baseball players are called prospects before they make it to the major leagues. As I said in the opening, Ken Griffey Jr. is the only Hall of Famer to be a first overall draft pick. That tells you something. In the 50, 60 years that it took until the last few years for a first overall pick to actually pan out in the way he's expected. A-Rod probably would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer if he hadn't taken steroids. Derek Jeter was famously passed over by several teams before falling to the Yankees in the early first rounds. On the flip side, you have people like the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. John Smoltz, regarded as one of the great pitchers of the 90s and 2000s in the Hall of Fame, and was also a 22nd round pick. Albert Pujols, one of the most feared hitters of the 21st century, a 13th round pick. And I could go on and on about all these late picks that have gone on to great success and even Hall of Fame status. So with all that said, what do I say about draft picks? Let them trade them. Just because someone has the number 1, 2, 3, or even 300th pick does not mean that they're going to break into the major leagues. Does not mean that they are going to have a stellar Hall of Fame career, let alone even break into the major leagues. Besides, it may add some interest to the draft that maybe Miguel Cabrera is traded at the last minute of the deadline so that the Tigers can get 2 first or second round picks. We'll just have to see how it plays out. As for now, I'll see you next time.